I was definitely very, very scared of Duncan as a little girl. And I don't think I knew enough. I wasn't aware enough to be scared before we filmed the scene where he hisses in my face. But I was certainly scared afterwards.
And I was terrified of her. I thought she was annoying, this little thing running around like all the other children. And then she screamed at me, and I nearly peed my pants.
All right, this is where I want you to stand up and scream. Hold on. Wait till I get through everybody's name, okay? Tom Woodruff Jr., Duncan Rieger, Andre Gower, Ryan Lambert, Michael Fastino, Robbie Kiger, Michael Reed McKay, Ashley Bank, Lisa Fuller, and Stephen Moss. Let's stand up and scream! Come on up, come on up. We have plenty of seats, we have plenty of water. Are we missing some people?
Behind you.
There we go. Oh. We got two more over here. Oh, there he is, there he is, there he is. Didn't mean to block, didn't mean to block. Hi. Oh my God, he touched me. And I said, son, I'm going to be talking to the Monster Squad. He says, that's amazing. Actually, he didn't say that. He was like, are they going to be in character or what? Are they grown up now? I said, yes, you've been around this for years, you know they're grown up. And he had one important question, especially for the people. Explosions on set? Who let those people around all those explosives? Those are kids! That was his first question. He was like, that's a lot of danger. Can you talk about all the explosions on set, especially while you were there as children? Okay, that cleared. I'm going to tell him that question sucks.
I got an answer to that.
Please, Steve.
My kid was 4 years old when we did that scene, and I stick dynamite in Wolfman's pants and throw him out and say, suck on this, you son of a bitch. Boom! Now, you don't see the boom until the shot from the outside, but he is splayed all over the outside street, and when we went down to see how Wolfman comes back together again, we were on the side, and my little boy looks at me as he sees the hands and the arms coming back. He says, Daddy, how they do that?
All right, let's go for our first question. First victim, come on up. You're the next contestant. It's your time to shine.
All right, so I just wanted to say, love Monster Squad and all that, great movie. And I just wanted to ask, were any of you guys familiar with the classic Universal monsters before taking on the movie role? And are you still embracing those roles to this day? I mean, naturally you are here, so yes, but have you been rewatching any of those classic Universal monster movies?
I was that kid that crept out in the middle of the night and turned on whether it was Elvira or something, like someone that was playing something like that, Svengoolie, like all those kind of things. So yeah, I was totally into that. I will say I just rewatched my favorite, Bride of Frankenstein. And realized two things. She's not in it, that much. And when she is in it, she comes out at the end, and everybody has these T-shirts and pins and mugs and thing with Frankenstein's monster and the Bride of Frankenstein's monster, like basically in love. So like there's this wonderful story that they like ran off and if you watch The Bride of Frankenstein, she sees him, screams her ass off, and then the credits roll. It's terrifying.
I'm sure all of you are somewhat familiar with Jean Robert and his description of the various things around the Monster Squad, what you could see in the Monster Squad. Just curious if you had any say in what was around the clubhouse or in the bedrooms or anything like that, especially for like Michael or Andre or whoever wants to answer.
Yeah, start off, Jean Robert is awesome. He's actually was a great fan for years, and now he's a friend. You know, and Jean Robert did a thing where he deep dived the treehouse and actually listed out every single movie poster and magazine article and action figure and things like that. He made this really comprehensive list. It was crazy. So shout out to Sean. No, to answer your second question, you don't necessarily really get a say in like set decoration, and you don't really get a say in your wardrobe a lot, you know, things like that. So, you know, Michael's walking around in, you know, Robotech, you know, PJs, you know, which were, those are great PJs, and you just get lucky to wear cool stuff. They gave me not cool stuff, but it turned into cool stuff. And I was like, wait, he makes his own, this character makes his own shirt? What? And I was like, okay, it was actually old iron-on, you know, type of thing. But you know, that's all that awesome movie-making magic type stuff, you know. And you get these, you know, art departments and the set decoration and the production design, and they kind of craft with it and just kind of put it up there what they thought, you know, a bunch of you know, the preteens would have in their treehouse, and that liked the stuff that they liked. I think they went a little deep dive, vampire circuses in there and things like that. So it's it seems like not the regular preteen treehouse, right, Tom? And the magazines and everything like that. But kind of what that was supposed to show was something that is lost in the final cut of the movie, is how deep the knowledge that these kid characters of the Monster Squad had about this monster lore. And there was a lot more exposition and character setup at the beginning of the movie in the script that just never happened. And the treehouse and stuff like that, and Eugene's room and all that has a lot to comment on that.
Thank you very much.
So I have a two-parter, but it's not really a two-parter. Okay, so it's really goofy stuff, so listen closely, okay? If Dracula kicked in your door at 3 a.m., because I'm partial to vampire media, what's your first move? Are you gonna scream, flirt, or offer him some snacks?
Flirt? The second, oh my God, you got the eyes and everything, and now she's giving me the look. Okay, flirts or offer him snacks?
Garlic bread.
Good answer.
Okay, so.
I'm not going to let him in. I'm not going to invite him.
But
He has to be invited in, correct?
That's what that is. I'm not going to invite him.
Correct.
No thanks.
You never know, he might have a lot of offer. He's asking you about your car's extended warranty. Last one. So, can you confirm that Wolfman does in fact still have his nards, any of you?
And I'm sure you've never been asked that before, right?
I believe so. I believe so. But we took a deep dive on Wolfman's Got Nards. If anybody's seen the documentary. Thank you. It's I think it's still confirmed, even if it's just in legacy.
Was there any time on set where like one of the older actors tried to take you under their wing and mentor you, or was it, you know, kind of separate with the kids and the adults?
Yeah. Good question. Not everybody at once.
No. They just tried to scare the shit out of us all the time.
I'm sure we tried to do that, but at the same time, we were, made a point of making ourselves separate from the kids because it was scarier that way, more mystery.
I do remember at the end of the movie when all the bricks, it's like when the army came, there was like bricks and rubble everywhere, and I was picking it up and throwing it, and Andre looked at me, he goes, "Those are supposed to be bricks. You can't pick those up." So I stopped kicking the bricks and stuff around.
It's a good question. Not necessarily specifically, but what I do think is the adults that were around us, because we were, obviously all kids, we got surrounded by actors and creature effects artisans and creature performers and actors that are really, really good at what they do. And they were veterans and they were solid. And we're a bunch of kids running trying to do this crazy, fun movie. And I think either by example or by osmosis or by sheer just kind of being in the presence of people that are really, really good at what they do, that helps translate and helps us do what we're supposed to do and keep it all kind of together. And I've always given credit to everybody that we got surrounded by in this movie, from the effects team and performers, plus people like Steven and Mary Ellen. Like Duncan said, he was kind of separate, but when he was there, it was a thing, and so you were going off of that. And that's something we like to talk about a lot because it was very impactful, and you realize what it meant much later.
Do you have any stories of working with Stan Winston?
That would be a tough one.
Stan Winston used to have a t-shirt that said, "Stan who?" because when he started off, it was not so easy finding jobs. He is, still remembered as one of the best, one of the most talented creature effects artists, but also as an artist, he worked in many different mediums. He would do designs in pencil, and he would do maquettes and sculptures. And when he first told us about this project, and he said, the Universal Monsters, well, the guys in my age, had grown up a certain way, and in that shop, everybody thought the idea of redoing the Universal Monsters would have been the coolest thing ever. And we thought that way for about a day. When they came back right away, Universal said, "No, you can't use our characters." So we just went ahead, and Stan turned things over to us. There was a group of 5 of us, and he separated things out. I played the Gill Man, so I had to do a body cast, and then we had some great sculptors and took that on. And then I designed the Frankenstein makeup. So I work with Tom Noonan and did sculptures and appliances, and he was very, very strict on set, saying he didn't want the kids to see him without his makeup on, which I thought was very cool. But it went well. The kids, they never saw him as a guy in makeup. So it worked very well.
Hi, so first of all, I'm a huge fan. I've been a fan since very little. Monster Squad, what a classic. Wolfman's Got Nards is one of the greatest horror movie lines in the history of horror movies. But I got one big question for all of you. What was your personal favorite scene of the entire movie?
All right, where do we want to start? Because we haven't got to hear from some of you.
I'll just go real quick. Mine was the
I'm
magic
sick of
scene.
hearing my dumb voice. My favorite, I really enjoyed the sequence where Rudy takes care of the Wolfman. That was fun to shoot. I didn't have to deal with the rest of these kids. The Vampire Brides was good too. So that's 3 Vampire Brides.
Okay, moving on.
3 Vampire Brides,
Yeah, we got
the
it.
Mummy,
Yeah.
and 5 confirmed. 5 confirmed. There's a little debate on where the 3rd bride went.
Well, there's no debate.
So yeah, that was cool for me.
For me, I think definitely the last final scene in the square, and you don't think about it, but you very rarely get to shoot on a lot, and that really felt special. And then, of course, it was just so epic. And I just remember never seeing fans that huge in my entire life. So it was just, overall, I would just say, hands down, that whole thing. And it just felt, like I said, it's so special to shoot on the lot.
I go back and forth. So many of the scenes were so fun to film, but I think I really loved the scene when we first introduced Frankenstein, and I'm there, and all the boys run with fear, and then Brent had to climb into that trash can, and it was too tall, and so he had to like figure out how to do it, and I just remember that part being so much fun.
For me, I think, was it a Jeep when we unraveled the mummy's bandages? I think that was a lot of fun for me to shoot. And then also being in the mansion and running from Wolfman and the Vampire Brides, falling through the trap door. That was a cool memory for me. A lot of fun.
I think I like the one with Frankie, Tom where Dracula tries to coerce him into his evil ways and his plans. And it was sort of a more intimate approach to things than the rest of the movie. The rest of the movie being great fun as well, but I rather like that scene. Just a little bit different from everything else. Apart from that, you know, throwing the cops around was kind of fun.
I think my favorite scene was when the mummy gets unraveled. Okay, a lot of people thought, oh, that's a dummy. It's like, no, it was me. But it was like, I felt, okay, I was riding on the Jeep, I had a harness, and it's like, and the kids in the back were like little people, and they said, don't worry, we got you, you're gonna be safe. And so the ride was fun. And it's kind of like, I loved it, and it was like exciting and everything. And it's like at one point they switched me out with a dummy, and that's when I started, it's like, take this Band-Aid breath, and it's like the arrow shoots into me, and I start to unravel, and that's when they changed. But that was my favorite scene. And also bonding with the rest of the monsters, with the lightning coming down at the beginning, on the pond. That was really cool.
Yeah, I had two favorite scenes. One, on the rooftop with Sean looking at a movie. Because I had all kids, and I showed up at every football, every baseball game, and it was real for me. It was, I show up for my kid. That's it. I do that, and it's not a big deal. It's just to watch the movie and we're together. So it's a very nice, calm place. The other is, I played all those scenes for real. When Dracula showed up and I thought Sean was in jeopardy, and I run into that house, I know what Dracula stands for. And we'll talk about that later. There's a whole subtext to who he is. And there are a lot of Draculas out there in the world now. So I played it absolutely real. I'm after this guy, I'm going to do everything I can to destroy him. And if I have to put my life on the line, I'll do that. So running into that house where I grab the telephone and find out that he's okay, that was a very real moment for me. Anyway, yeah.
So, as you know, I didn't kill any monsters, so making business cards was my favorite part of this. I got two back. Ryan had all the kills, basically. I got some kills, but I was making business cards, so I do have some extra business cards for anybody that needs.
My favorite scene, teacher, was the first time I came out in the Gilman suit and went into the water and then had to come back up with the Frankenstein monster in the case. It was a night shoot, and we hadn't water tested the suit at all. And being on set at the Warner Brothers studio lot was really cool for me. I loved all that. So they had this big, not big, but they had a lake. They called it Walton's Lake because it was named after the TV series of Walton. And I didn't find out until very late when they needed me that they had turned the heat on. They had heaters in this big thing, so it wasn't like going out in 40-degree weather in a wet rubber suit. What I wasn't sure of though was, when you have to hold back from using the restroom, and then you're cold, and then you walk into warm water. Am I the only one the only thing that stopped me was thinking, what does that do to the suit? What can I do? And so we worked that out, and the rest was easy. Yeah, that was the hardest part of being the guild.
Everything else seems easy after that, I always joke, and it's not really a joke, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is with the two airplane pilots. With David Proval, it's a great scene. And then my other one is on the roof with Steven, because that's a really cool, kind of thing to get David. Everybody wants to go see a movie with their dad, and I did. And so not only he was real for him, but it was kind of a real thing for me, because my dad and I liked to go to the movies, and we liked to go to the drive-in. Drive-in was awesome, and so that's great. But like Lisa said, I think that final sequence, we've always kind of said that was just kind of really amazing to be a part of.
Thank you.
It's funny how you mentioned about how your dad and y'all watched movies together, because he was the reason why I'm a big fan of Monster Squad now. He helped me introduce this movie. It's one of my top 5 favorite movies. But he owned a 20th anniversary edition of the movie, and in it was a note from Fred Decker talking about how the movie wasn't well received at first. Like, it didn't blow up like it does now. And like after so many years later, like it just, like for some reason out of nowhere, it's now like everywhere, and you've got panels like this that people go to see y'all. And so I was just wanting to know, why do you think a movie like Monster Squad starts off kind of small, and then just out of nowhere blows up in fandom?
It never ends, generation after generation after generation.
I want to answer that again, but I want Andre to talk, because he is the reason this movie took off.
Yes, he is.
He's the reason. The studio gave it a PG-13 rating because Dracula says, "Give me the amulet, you bitch." It was a movie always done for 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. And had they not rated it PG-13, you had to go with your parents. One of the parents didn't want to go to that movie. So it opened okay, and then it went in the toilet. So I want to then say, what did you do, Andre, over a period of time that I think contributed to why you're here now, Andre?
Well, it's not anything singular to me. I think what it is we got lucky because the fan base was there. And there may be a few in here, like the movie, anybody not clear that this movie did not perform well at the box office? Definition of flop, right? And then it disappeared for 19 years. We thought it disappeared, but you guys didn't let it disappear. It was on HBO, it was getting recorded in your den, it was getting passed around the cul-de-sac and the schoolyard on your copied VHS tape. We didn't really know that was happening all of that time, until a couple of us got contacted by a couple of folks that are associated with the Austin film scene in Austin, Texas, at the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema. This is when the Alamo had one location. And they were doing a revival screening, and they found a 35mm print from 2 collectors in North Carolina. And they invited myself, Ryan, Ashley, and Fred Decker to come to Austin, Texas for like a late night Saturday screening of the Monster Squad that no one had seen in the theater in 19 years.
On Father's Day weekend.
Was it Father's Day or Easter? It was Father's Day? Or so, yeah, it was some holiday that you're not gonna go to a movie. And we were like, you're gonna fly us into town? Okay, let's go hang out and see.
Well, and none of us had seen each other in 20 years.
In a
so
long
we were
time.
like, well, this will be fun, if nothing else.
And they sold out 2 screenings in one night. They probably could have had a third, and that's where the spark ignited the fan base that had been kind of brewing for 19 years. It was that singular event that we got to go to. And the thing that helped in 2006 was that now we had the internet and early social media, and people could chat room, and they could go and they'd be like, hey, I just did this. Hey, where's the DVD? We're like, you're never getting one. And then a year later, Lionsgate put out a 20th anniversary DVD, and then everything just kept scaling and building. And I think the fact that we all started and got the chance to be involved in those events and those early screenings, and then we were going to a convention, and we were like, we're going to a convention? And we went to Monster Mania in Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
In the middle of a snowstorm.
In the middle of snow. And we're like, hang on a minute, this is okay. And then it just kept building and building. And as long as we were receptive to it, and as long as we were kind of answering the call that had kind of started coming out, we just thought it was fun and interesting. And we thought it would last about a year. We're like, oh, maybe we could go do another convention next summer. And it hasn't stopped. And it's because of you guys that really kept it brewing for those 19 years. And then we all finally got to get together, and then now we can continue to do it. You guys won't let this thing die. You just won't let it die. By the way, the best costume I've seen all day, if you can't see this. Come up here. Hit the steps. Come up here. Come up and answer your question up here.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Right here. So everybody can see.
Even though it is a Lost Boys fan, but it's all right.
Have you seen the Lost Boys? Who's your parent? Where are your parents? Oh, it's you. Child Services. You ready to ask your question?
I'm a super big fan of the Monster Squad. Do you have any tips to become a child actor?
He's got an agent.
And if he doesn't, he will in about 20 minutes. Any tips? Well, first of all, usually it seems like you're going to have to be an individual that has a little something in them to want to do that and enjoy it and succeed, and I think you're way ahead of the pack. So I support that. I think really what it is find out what you're comfortable with, be enthusiastic about it, and do as much as you can to learn as much as you can about doing it. And you'll find your kind of space, and whether it's funny stuff, whether it's serious stuff, whether it's goofy stuff, and just be comfortable with it. Don't force yourself into things. Don't be forced into things. But be engaged and learn as much as you can. And I think, like I said, you're 2, 3, 10 steps ahead of most everybody.
I have something. I got something to say to you. My next oldest boy is a very successful actor. How many of you have seen the series Suits? Gabriel, who plays Harvey Specter, is my son, my wife, and our son. At the age of 5, he learned all the lines in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And he, amidst directors, actors, writers at our dinner table, used to get up on the table and sing, "I'm just a sweet transvestite." He was about your size and with shocking blonde hair, and there was no stopping him, ever. He held on to simply the joy of becoming somebody else. He did it. He would imitate Magic Johnson. This white kid who was that size would go around with a mustache playing basketball. He would become everybody. He had an innate sense of imitation and using himself to become someone else. Hang on to that. You have that in you. That's a nugget because you asked the question. So stay with that. Think about what is it that you really enjoy doing, and let it go. Play it for all you can. That's my advice.
Who was the biggest prankster on set, and is there any stories y'all could share about that?
Prankster on set was the question. And here's what's funny. I wish sets were, you know, we always hear these great stories about, you know, actors and pulling stuff, and when you're the kid on set, you can have fun, you do that, but you're not really doing much of that, because when you're a kid in a movie, you're the most restrictive thing on the set. There's so many rules, regulations, time, and you don't want to be the reason something goes bump because the adults it loses the day. Now, when we're hanging out together and being kids in the schoolroom, or, you know, in the class or off on our own, I don't know if we did a lot of pranks, but we just enjoyed kind of being around everybody, and we became kind of our squad. And I did not know anybody in the movie except for Robbie. Robbie and I had kind of grown up together and auditioned for the same stuff a lot, but everybody else was new. But it didn't take very long for all of us to kind of become the squad. And you pal around, you joke around, and you know, ride your bike, or I didn't really, you know, joke too much on Ashley. I just said she was my little sister, and you know, we're watching out for each other, and I think that that translates on screen too. Do we have any pranksters on our Like, Ryan was too cool to do pranks. I mean, he still is, look at him. And
maybe I'm still doing the prank.
This is just a long
playing the long game.
This is like,
it's coming. No.
Harry Gandalf has nothing on you on the long come.
For the adults, though, follow up on my question, which one of the kids was the biggest pain in the ass? Oh, we've got a story. I love it.
Please, if there's 2 or 3 of us,
I never saw kids as high on sugar in my life. I mean, craft services finally said, we gotta take this away from them. I just remember Ashley, Andre, you riding around on bikes or running over, all over the studio, like a flash. And I would look at the AD and I'd say, you let that happen? He said, nothing we can do about it, they're crazy.
Who else?
Do you have a couple of you have a story? I just saw nobody. Come on. Nobody? I see you wanting to tell. I'm looking right at you. Know you want to tell. Do it. Grab the mic. Tell it. Nobody here is recording, right? Please.
Well, one thing I can think of is like this one time I was like walking down we're outside, and my foot was like, it wasn't really painful, but I said, and Robbie was with me, and it's like I said, something's on my foot. I said, see what it is. He went looking, and so I walked with that, and he said, attack! And it's just like this attack, and it was like, and we just started laughing, and it's kind of like, you just pulled this thing out of my foot, and it was like, we laughed so hard. That I was walking an attack the whole time.
Goodness.
And so I was fine. It's like, and my feet were like slippers, and so we just kept laughing and laughing, and we were laughing so hard we were crying. But he solved the problem. He took it out of my foot, and it was renewed. But it was so funny.
Nice.
And there it is. I put the tack there.
The prank ends.
I have 2 questions. First one is, were you able to take any of the props to the studio like you do that as kids? Like scraps?
this is not the real Scraps, sadly. It was a gift from one of you lovely people. Not this weekend, but a year ago. I did have the original Scraps, but my parents lost it because they're irresponsible.
I took My Little Monster. I don't know if you guys remember that in my bedroom. The monster with chains that break apart. I took that one.
No, unfortunately.
Rob, did you take it?
No.
You didn't?
I just remember bringing his brother, David Faustino, from Married with Children, but it hadn't started yet. We went onto the prop jack and we were playing with the fake guns. And then we got caught by the prop master or something. But I just remember going all around that set. You know, it was a free for all. It was really fun.
So now we know who the troublemaker kid on set was.
I have one of the silver bullets.
Nice.
I have one. I think it might possibly be the one that is the prop that goes into the gun. Before I say, thank you. I had the leather jacket for a long time. I brought it to show you guys at a different show. And I was living in San Francisco at the time, and I was very tired on my way back home. And I was on the BART, which is the train in San Francisco, and my bag was next to me. I fell asleep, and I woke up and the bag was gone.
Oh my goodness.
So someone has that jacket out there somewhere. It exists.
So I got lucky in, I ended up I got my whole wardrobe. Including Stephen King rule shirt. There was two. So the actual screen used Stephen King rule shirt is in a hermetically sealed vault in a basement in Area 51. And no, it actually stayed in a box in Dorothy's garage for years. That's my mother. And it really kind of just came out. The first time it ever came out was to do the thing at Fantastic Fest for the 30th anniversary year, and we were doing the documentary at the time. We put it on a mannequin, and Eric Vespi, who was the guy that kind of kicked off that first screening, Fred Decker, not knowing that all this would happen years later, at that first screening at the Alamo Drafthouse, gave the amulet to Eric Vespi. And so Eric Vespi still owns the amulet. He let us borrow it for that. So we've seen a lot of cool props. And I actually took Rudy's bow home because I was really into archery at the time. And then I kind of gave it back to Ryan for a little bit. He left it at my friend's house, and it moved to Montana. We got the bow back, and we gifted it to a friend of ours who's kind of hanging in his collectibles library. But yeah, I think the bow, the silver bullet, and the Stephen King rule shirt are pretty cool things to still have hands on.
My other question was, what are some of your favorite memories filming with Leonard Semino Scary?
Yeah, Jimmy, just if you had seen anything that he had done leading up to that, or actually it was more of seeing movies after you work with somebody and you're like, oh, this guy's been in so much stuff. And just a great presence and a character actor, like I was mentioning before, with all of the adults at the time when we were kids were just fantastic, and they were solid. And I didn't know Cimino other than Scary German Guy, really, like that's him. And we laughed because Ryan and I sent him a screen grab, and I sent him, I was like, Scary German Guy's on an episode of Kojak right now. And you know, and then years later, you see, you know, Duncan in shows, and not only one of the top Draculas, but one of the top Zorros, by the way. And then you see Steven on an episode of everything. Old, new, current, Deep Space Nine. You're like, wait a minute, Jordan, what's happening here? And so that's what you like about working with people, and seeing the stuff afterwards, but then learning how much stuff that they did before. And because these are all fantastic seasoned veteran actors, been in everything. So those are really wonderful things to kind of see. And the best story was, since we never got to work with Tom Noonan, we worked with Frankenstein's monster. I made the mistake. I was like, okay, enough is enough. I got to see this guy. Like, who's this guy that's not hanging out with us? So I went and rented Manhunter. Big mistake.
Was there anything you had to do on the set that truly terrified you, especially as being kids? Like a scene or that, or one of the actors that you were really afraid of?
They're pointing at somebody. They're pointing at somebody.
I was definitely very, very scared of Duncan as a little girl. And I don't think I knew enough. I wasn't aware enough to be scared before we filmed the scene where he hisses in my face. But I was certainly scared afterwards.
And I was terrified of her. I thought she was annoying, this little thing running around like all the other children. And then she screamed at me, and I nearly peed my pants.
He never broke character. Once he was Dracula, that was it on set, so it was very frightening. It was scary, for sure. Giant, we were little. I'll never forget that. Yeah.
I just wanted to say on yours, the DVD in Augusta sold out in like 8 hours when it first came out.
Oh, on the what? I'm sorry.
On the DVD, the 20th anniversary.
Oh, yes.
When Walmart was open 24 hours, sold out in 8 hours. We've had a lot of great actors do Dracula. We've had Gerard Butler, Gary Oldman, Christopher Lee, but I think a lot of people miss how hard you came across. With just 2 of your lines, give me the amulet and I will have your son. Lines like that really came across hard. My question is, with all the second parts that they're doing, like Hocus Pocus 2, The Babysitter, what are the chances of y'all doing another one?
Sign up, right?
I'll take it.
He's still the leader of this club.
Okay, let's go back a little bit when they were actually trying to reboot Monster Squad. Back after kind of the resurgence happened and we all started doing stuff. Rob Cohen, who was actually a young producer on Monster Squad, who is now big studio Rob Cohen, director of giant movies and Fast and the Furious and things like that. And Michael Bay teamed up to reboot Monster Squad. Apparently no one liked that idea. Fan-wise. And, but the timing was interesting because they went into kind of like development hell and they couldn't really crack the story because you cannot do this movie today with kids as a you won't do it. So they were trying to figure out how to do it with a modern way, modern tale, new kids, reboot the story, and they went through writing teams after writing teams, and then Universal introduced the Dark Universe. And so Platinum Dunes, Michael Bay's company, and Rob Cohen were like, well, if they're rebooting all of these classic Universal monsters, no reason to reboot Monster Squad. So everybody rejoiced in Monster Squad fan world. But then everybody wants a sequel. Who wouldn't? I mean, it'd be kind of cool. We've kicked around, funny, and it's always been a rights issue. The rights to the Monster Squad have always been kind of in flux, not necessarily confirmed. And when we were making the documentary, we learned more about that because we were using footage and getting licensing and for scenes. And Paramount says they own the rights to the Monster Squad. We're like, okay, great. And really all they had was the home video distribution rights. So they're putting it on Hulu and Amazon and now on Paramount, now Pluto, things like that. But no one could determine who owned the title rights to the movie. And someone said, they have it, they don't have it, they don't have it, they don't have it. Went on for years and years and years, which was kind of the good thing because in media law, after 35 years of an original concept, if the rights are in question, they automatically revert to the original authors. And it's a process, a legal thing. So technically, Shane and Fred have it back. And never doing anything. They actually went to a bunch of meetings because people wanted to do it. And if they were doing it, I think everybody would be on board because it would be kind of cool. If someone else was doing it, you're like, it's got to be, what is it? I don't know if they're really interested in ever doing anything. I know they love the world, that they could do other things with it. But a sequel would be cool, and I'd love to get a chance to work with everybody again. No matter what it is, but they have to be the right people. But I don't think there's anything on the table at the moment, unfortunately.
Come on. Hello, I got a kind of a two-part question. Well, you guys gotta remember too, you used to talk about cult classics. There was another big franchise that started out little too. It's called Star Wars. It became a cult classic. It wasn't big at first, so let's just keep that in mind. Number two, what's your, besides Monster Squad, what's your guys' favorite horror movie? Like, if any of you watch.
Yeah, favorite horror film. Let's go down the line. We'll start down here and go. Yeah. Yeah, we start. Well, we can start here. We can go. What's your point? Okay. Do you have one?
The Wizard of Oz.
Good call.
Absolutely a horror movie.
It's so scary.
Citizen Kane.
Uh-huh.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, it is a hard thing to answer. I've been surprised at this show how many people come up with, it's like even split between Monster Squad and Pumpkinhead. And both of those movies had the same kind of direction in that when they first came out, nobody wanted to see them. Pumpkinhead played for 2 weeks in December. And then they tried another week in January. It didn't go anywhere. And nothing was happening with it, much like Monster Squad, to be able to think in terms of building off of it, making something. But, I mean, you look at Monster Squad, Pumpkinhead, we're in our third generation of people that are enjoying these movies, so I never thought that was going to happen.
Children of the Corn.
One of the original Dracula movies, Nosferatu. I feel ashamed that I don't remember, what's the name of the actor?
Max Schreck.
That's right. That's the film, Nosferatu.
Insidious.
Ooh.
When I was in it, it was chapter 3. It had nothing to do with the first two. It was a separate story. But I love jump scares, and I had a lot of jump scares in that movie. So I asked a friend of mine. She said, "Will you go to?" I said, "Will you come see the movie with me?" And she did. It's like, what's going to happen? I said, "Go. It's coming up." Shocked the hell out of me because I jumped out of my seat like everybody else. And this girl was behind us. She was about 13. She screamed and the popcorn went flying. So I scared myself.
I would agree with Stephen on Nosferatu. Klaus Kinski played the role. And, but the other movie that is actually probably my favorite film altogether is Apocalypse Now. And it is a horror movie, not just because of the last lines of Marlon Brando, which were, the horror, the horror.
The Exorcist and Shining. My brother made me watch The Exorcist when I was like 5 years old. Forced me to watch it. And said he'd kick my ass if I told my parents. I didn't do that. And then The Shining. Those were two films I saw that frightened me when I was young.
Traditional horror, I think I'd say The Ring. Scared the crap out of me. But really, Jurassic Park, I think, is my favorite horror movie. And that is also 100% a horror movie.
I would say probably Them. I saw that, I absolutely just loved it. And then one that made a really strong impression on me, and so it's kind of close to my heart, is Motel Hell.
Tough question. The Descent
In the Mouth of Madness. Alien.
Alien for sure.
Not aliens, boo. Sorry. Sorry, John. Wow. OG Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Poltergeist.
Man, great.
So, I was actually one of those kids that saw this movie in the theater. Definitely my mom took me, and so when I was growing up, my dad's a big horror movie fan, and he had this huge coffee table book that had all these like classic monsters in it, and I would pour through that thing all the time religiously. But of course, I wasn't allowed to see anything, right? Because I was little, and so I got to see this movie, and this movie for me was like, yes, like finally, yes, this is it, this is mine. This, for me, and probably for a lot of folks here, this is like my Goonies, right? Like, Goonies, okay. So my question to you is, oh, and also, so once it came out on VHS, rented it every Friday from Blockbuster to the point where I had it memorized. So obviously this movie meant a lot to me growing up. So I'm curious if, for you all having been in it, when it started to finally get big again and like, you know, you'd be invited to all of these things, was your reaction like, really this one? Or was it finally, yes?
Well, that's really existential.
My brain was wandering, so I'll answer if you ask it again, but.
No, I would say finally, because I never understood it. I thought it was so clever. I thought all the performances were so good, and I mean, it was like, really? This is what it deserved all along, in my opinion.
I don't know if it was necessarily either of those things, to be honest. I think it was more like shock that this had all been going on without us knowing about it, and then kind of like a new appreciation. Because I think like when it came out and then it kind of bombed, when that happens when you're an actor, you just sort of like move on to the next thing, right? I don't, especially being so young, I don't think I thought about it that much. I was like, oh, that was fun, I did it, it was over. And then I moved on. And so I didn't have feelings about its success as a kid. And so it was just sort of like a renewed appreciation.
Am I supposed to say something?
Yeah.
I don't, I same thing as that. I don't really have an opinion on it, but I'm just as excited to be here. This is only my third con, so sitting up here and hearing these stories and getting to see these guys talk and tell these stories is just probably as exciting for me as it is for you. It's all new to me, and I love being up here and hearing these guys tell their stories. Because I was a little kid, so my view of the whole thing is a little different than everybody else's, but excited to be here.
Yeah, I was genuinely surprised when it came back and started to have new momentum and all of that because, you know, as Ashley said, as a professional actor, you get to the end of the gig and you move on, you know. So years later, when it cropped up again and started to get some momentum, I could stand on the outside and watch it grow and build, and here we are, right? Great.
There was this film called The Hills Have Eyes. And then when it came out later on, it wasn't as scary as the first one. The first one was pretty scary. And I actually auditioned for the second one as Big Brain, but I didn't get it. But it wasn't as scary as the first one. The first one was pretty scary. About nuclear war. It's pretty scary.
I watched this film grow. And to begin with, when I first did it, I thought it was nothing. I thought it was just a nice little picture. But as I've come to these screenings and panel discussions, I want to put in perspective, my perspective. I see it as can we tell them to quiet down?
Shut the hell up!
Anyway, for me, it represents a very specific time, an idyllic period when kids the best instincts of kids go out to find and defeat the shit in the world, the monsters. It's an idyllic travel, and they succeed. They live up to the best that's in them. Because what lies behind Dracula and all of these monsters is you don't really want to get in there. And I feel that as you see it, the audiences rise to that occasion because you see yourselves in these kids. And you want to live up to the best that's in you. And I would urge you to keep doing that because there's a load of monsters out there that need defeating now.
I've heard a lot of stories from fans that say, you know, we love you guys. And, you know, the story, we just watch it over and over. And so I'd have to say finally, because it's a good movie. You know, it's got a good acting, great story, great effects, great, you know, it's just across the board, it's good. So it stands up over time, but it just took a long time to get it, you know, the right audience. But we appreciate you so much. So thank you. But where were you in '87?
Weren't even, some of them, most of them weren't even born.
Citizen Kane. My reaction was final because, again, going back to Stan, who I loved working with, but we had done a lot of things that had taken off and done well. And I thought this was my favorite project when working with Stan because it was all about monsters and kids and the adventure and the whole feeling that adults don't believe kids, right? I mean, that theme is played in Invaders from Mars, which is, you know, it's a B movie, but that is so prevalent. But I really was glad that this movie came out and we could all start seeing it again.
Yeah, like aha or finally, I don't, because we've been such kind of a part of it since the beginning of the resurgence. I think it's just the second act, like it's a new thing. So I think the first part was over, and this is almost a new act. And so it's just kind of interesting, it's fascinating, and certainly we appreciate, I do, and I think I speak for everybody because they've all said the same thing, that to be a part of something as unique as this kind of resurgence that wasn't a flash in the pan, then you forget about it. This really grew, and like, you know, the point Stephen makes, it has this foundation that's set in reality, in this fantasy world, and to see this kind of grow and just be kind of a part of something like that, not many people get to be a part of that. So I think, personally, I key on that. So that's pretty cool.
Hi guys. So I was like 7, 8 when the movie came out. There was a part I was a little unclear about, and I was just kind of wondering how many of you were also unclear. He asked, you know, is she a virgin? And I was wondering if any of you had any awkward conversations or teenage boys, you know, what that was like.
I mean, the boys were also all virgins, right? Let's be real.
The question, we should just leave it at that.